I hope you've all got your passports ready because we're going international today. Oh, yeah. Who doesn't love a trip down into Latin America to enjoy some sun, some sand, some surf, and some baseball?
And Presidente.
And El Presidente. Well, we don't have any of that. We'll do some of those things next. DLLS. Has become an annual thing, and it's a thing. Baseball has made it a thing, and these amazingly young players that grow up loving baseball in the Dominican Republic, in Venezuela, in Cuba, and many other countries in Latin America have made it a thing. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan, Jeff Wilson, the Queen, Kat, pulling double duty today. You may have heard her on the Cowboys show as well, although it's hard to hear her on the Cowboys show based on everything else that's happening on the Cowboys show. But proud of her. Did a lot of work today and helping us out too. Glad to have you in the chat. We appreciate it. Nobody has more info about these guys, these international guys, than Jeff. And so we're going to talk about a lot of them and what the Rangers have done so far today. Jeff, I guess the first question, though, would be, are they done? I mean, have they completed their tasks?
Yeah, everything went according to plan. There were no last-minute surprises or last-minute additions. The Rangers have not released the list yet. They tend to, wait till everything's official, and I haven't seen I was looking at the usual suspects on this stuff, Ben Badler of Baseball America and some other guys. And the last I looked, I hadn't seen any of the photos that, all these teams give to these guys. So anyway, that's so Rangers.
So, I was just going to say, every other team has these beautiful graphics and lists that are out with all their guys. And the Rangers haven't even put out a list with just typed names on it yet or anything.
So, but anyway, that's cool. The ones that we talked about yesterday, and the ones that I wrote about today or last night. If you didn't catch it last night when I posted this morning, hopefully you saw it. Are all under contract or have signed their bonuses, the agreements that have existed for probably 3 years to several months are being honored. And now it's just getting these guys acclimated into pro ball, into the academy, or not the academy. At the academy.
Some of them,
And they'll play this summer, probably strictly on the island. Hispaniola is the island of two countries, so strictly in the Dominican, and then we'll see what happens. So, but it's a huge day for baseball teams, all 30 teams, and really, all 30 teams now really invest. There were teams that for a while did not invest very heavily in Latin America, the Pirates being one of them. But now, the Pirates have a shiny facility, and they're really aggressive down there. So anyway, fun stuff.
It is, and as was it Ace used to say on the A-team with a cigar out of his mouth? I love it when a plan comes together, right? So the Rangers' plan came together, which I guess means all their work paid off, right? Because they work on these kids for years and years and years, even though they draft them usually sign them at usually 16 or 18 or somewhere between 16 and 18 years old. But they've still been in touch with these kids since they're 12 or 13 or
in a lot
14.
of cases, and you don't hear about these things because they're just handshake agreements, and teams can over agree in a lot of cases, and then they have to pull the offers later when it gets down to it, and that kind of frees up guys for another time. And then there are guys who want to reclassify and or wait a year or whatever it is. So it's pretty interesting. It's Major League Baseball has tried to regulate it a little bit more. Because like 15 years ago, it was crazy. 15, 20 years ago, it was just wild west down there, and not sure of guys' ages and really guys putting fake names on things, and it's happened to a lot of the teams. And it's like, oh, I thought his name was this. It's like, oh no, it's this. It's like, oh, that's
what happened?
Okay, but anyway, the Rangers should be happy. And again, Ariel Rosario, outfielder, $2.5 million for him. He's the anchor, if you will, of the class. But then it's the Frandel Pineda, Michael Pineda's nephew,
right?
Who if he grows as big as Michael, watch out,
right?
And that's kind of the unknown with these guys. How big are they going to get? Because
and I can't remember, was Pineda on the Baseball America Top 50?
No, I think he was.
He makes the Major League MLB.
He's in the MLB. The Baseball America did it a little differently this year, at least of late. They did the bonus board, and Pineda didn't get a ton of money. He only got $350,000 according to Baseball America. So that's not one of the biggest bonuses out there. It's not one of the top 100 bonuses. So Rosario, Jesus Chavez from Venezuela. Then you have the catcher Ramirez, also from Venezuela. Only $375,000. There are guys who just rave about this kid. And the Rangers have gone ahead and added a couple other catchers from Venezuela. And apparently now Venezuela is the cradle of catching.
Okay.
It used to be Puerto Rico, and I think maybe the Molinas had a lot to do with that. But now it's Venezuela. A lot of catchers out of Venezuela, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, in fact, the Athletics took a catcher out of Venezuela as well, and there's still another one in the Major League Baseball Top 50, Diego Pacheco. He's 50, who's at least at this point, according to this, not yet taken. So that's a lot of catchers. If the Rangers,
the Blue Jays got a catcher from Venezuela as well. So
wow, okay,
yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, but yeah, it's not just the Dominican; it's mostly the Dominican and Venezuela. You'll see some kids from Curacao who signed, Colombia, and then as you move further west in Central America, those kids tend to be older, like from Nicaragua and Mexico. So anyway, but the Rangers will have some guys from there. They might have a couple cheap international signings too that fly under the radar that nobody knows about. And then again, they also may not use all of their pool,
right?
To keep their powder dry for somebody else. Now, like Roki Sasaki last year. Or was it last year? Whatever.
Yeah, it was.
They had some extra money
just in case,
which they ended up using on the Kim, the Korean kid. Anyway,
a
lot of good prospect talk. A lot of these guys are going to jump right into the Rangers top 30 too. Maybe not a lot, but a couple.
Few of them,
definitely will. I would be very surprised if the top three. I would imagine, Rosario. And then Pineda and probably the catcher Santiago will get in there. Santiago Ramirez.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting, actually. In the top 50 of the MLB list, 33 are from the Dominican.
Yeah.
14 are from Venezuela.
Right.
And just 3 from Cuba. And all those other countries that you mentioned, I think they said there are 10 countries represented in the top 100.
Okay.
But none of those other countries, the Curaçaos of the world, are in their players aren't as developed, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, well,
not in the top 50.
Sebastian Walcott's from the Bahamas,
right?
And really, Jazz Chisholm's probably the most famous player from the Bahamas. They don't have a ton of, they just don't have a big population for one, and I don't know that baseball is a huge sport there. And plus, a lot of them will, like in the case of Walcott, will make it over to the United States and
Sure.
have family in Florida,
Play in
and
Miami
play,
or something.
play in the area. Yeah.
Now, was Sebastian a highly ranked prospect when the Rangers took him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They knew.
Yeah,
they were getting
he got
the
a
guy.
$3 million bonus,
Okay.
and he was their guy, and he still is their guy.
Yeah.
He's their top prospect. He will be until he runs out of rookie eligibility, whenever that happens. And this is kind of the time of year when top 100 lists come out and the top 30s come out. Baseball America has released their top 30 prospects for all teams. I think the top 100 list comes out tomorrow or Monday. And the Rangers are going to have 2 in the top 100. I know that they're going to have Walcott and Caden Scarborough will be in the top 100. I just don't know where.
Okay.
I think Walcott's going to drop a little bit. If you looked at the website earlier this week, they did position breakdowns of the top prospects at each position, and Walcott was like the 9th or 10th, 8th to 10th highest rated shortstop, which sounds like, oh geez, he's going to take a big drop. Well, the first 5 players on their final top 100 list of 2025 were shortstops. Walcott was the 10th rated prospect overall, the 7th rated shortstop.
Right.
And then there's one at 12 right behind him,
Yeah.
Colt Emerson from the Mariners. So he's still going to be a top 20 prospect.
Yeah, and so here's the answer to that, and it's reflected in the same top 50. 26 of them are infielders.
Yeah. 15
of them are outfielders. Just 4 catchers, 3 pitchers, and then 3 infield outfield hybrids. So, or 2, 3, whatever. But where does the best player on every team play?
Yeah, they play shortstop or center field.
Yeah. That's it. And so these are athletes. Yeah.
One thing that needs to be corrected, Baseball America reported that Ariel Abreu, who the Rangers have signed, had him listed as an outfielder, and the Rangers say he is a shortstop. Now he's 6'3", so he's big. He may end up in the outfield, but right now they're going to let him develop as a shortstop.
Yes, and certainly we all know that at this point, because Walcott is likely going to be in the big leagues before Corey Seager's done, well, he's probably not going to play shortstop.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's still in the air with Walcott. He has bigger things to worry about, as Cordua points out. Struck out 23% of the time last year, which is actually an improvement on what he did the year before.
Mm-hmm.
When John Moore and I had him on the weekly show right before he bowed out of the Arizona Fall League, and he was pretty happy with the improvement he made with his discipline and his pitch awareness this season. Now I hadn't seen it much in A-ball, but we figure a 17 or 18-year-old in A-ball is going to strike out a lot.
Sure.
And an 18 and 19-year-old in Double-A is going to strike out a lot. But it was lower until this year, which is encouraging. He hit the ball hard this year when he made contact with it. He just didn't drive the ball over the fence a lot, and he wants to improve upon that. But he's probably gonna be at AAA at some point this year, maybe to start the season, though depending on how the infield depth shakes out on the major league roster, he may end up starting again at Double-A. It's not like he dominated Double-A.
No.
He had a great year for a 19-year-old in Double-A. It was an above league average year overall. Just, I think the Rangers want to see a little bit more, and that's not unprecedented. Like Fernando Tatis Jr. spent 3 different seasons at Double-A before he ascended to the major leagues. So I think Walcott, and again, there's no need to press the gas on him.
Nope.
Let him start there. Have a great month. Let's say he opens up in April and is fantastic. Then maybe early May he gets a bump to AAA. But right now, I would not be surprised if he's back in Frisco to start the year.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing.
Right.
Development and time to do so, and being comfortable at whatever level you're at. Right, you need time to do that. And frankly, yes, obviously, some guys don't. But overall, it almost never hurts a player to get a little more comfortable before they move on to the next level. So that's some of the talk about the international guys. We'll get back into international baseball a little bit later on in the program. Up next, so you thought there were some clubhouse problems last year. We've heard it. We've talked about it. One of the guys that was in the clubhouse isn't so sure. We'll hear from him next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
John always talks about Wild Fork Foods and how awesome their buffalo wings are and how they're going to celebrate he and his son with the Bills' victory this weekend at Dallas or at Denver, my home team. Well, I don't doubt that they're going to have the wings. I just don't know how much celebrating they're going to get to do. But the point is that Wild Fork does everything. It's not just, hamburger meat. It's wings, it's seafood, it's turkey. They can help you with holidays. They can help you with your backyard barbecue, with delicious brisket and ribs that we've sampled. And they do it all for as low a price as you can find in the area. Every week they have a marketing meeting. They find the lowest prices, and they beat them. It's that simple. So go to wildforkfoods.com, and while you're there, consider becoming one of their members for $29 a month. Free delivery. You wouldn't even have to go into the store, one of their 9 locations in DFW, with 2 more expected soon over on the west side. But again, wildforkfoods.com for all your meat.
So would you enjoy an experience with one of your vendors that doesn't have pressure or gimmicks? I think we all would, right? And that's exactly what Qualis Roofing brings you. No pressure, no gimmicks, just honest assessments and quality work. Based right here in North Texas, Qualis Roofing isn't some storm-chasing fly-by-night crew. They're local, they're experienced, and they're committed to doing things the right way. So if you are in need of a roof, you need to call our friends at Qualis Roofing. If you call them simply for an inspection, you get any one of these DLLS T-shirts. Doesn't have to be this one. And then if you have the work done by them, they will gift you either a Traeger smoker or a Blackstone grill. Qualis isn't just good at roofing. They're great at communication. You'll always know where your project stands and what to expect. So go to QualisRoofingGC.com. Yeah, we're very, very big fans of all of our sponsors, and Qualis definitely one that stepped up to the plate big for us. You're going to need them sooner than you think when that spring weather gets here to Texas. All right, so we've talked about it a lot, and it's Jeff and I have basically had the stance of we didn't see or experience any of the clubhouse problems that have been, discussed, a lot of them nationally of late. We heard about some of it. We heard it from other people, but we're not in there long enough, and we don't travel with the team and those types of things to know whether or not this truly existed. We had Dave Raymond on the show last week, and he said, I don't, and he's with them all the time. He said, I think it's fine. I think if they'd been a better team, they'd have had better chemistry. But he didn't think there was any big rift. And but now we find that it has been taken to the source, or at least one of 26, probably more than that, but 26 sources from last year, guys who are on the Major League roster. Our friend Sean Armstrong, who is now with the Cleveland Guardians, interviewed recently and had this to say about the Texas Rangers clubhouse in 2025.
Those guys made me probably one of the most comfortable that I've been in the clubhouse in my career from day one. I mean, I went to spring training, DeGrom and Evo are my locker buddies. That's who I'm between. And I'm like, I told my wife, I was like, I'm kind of like googly-eyed a little bit because these are 2 guys I've looked up to my whole career, but at the end of the day, like, they're just as much of a clown as the rookie next to me. But they keep it that way and make guys feel comfortable in that regard. And you guys know how it is in clubhouse, man. Like, the pitching staff and the position players, there's a little bit of separation between those two. Like, we're on 2 different schedules. Meetings are different. BP's different. Our stretch times are different. And then when, after the game, when you have an older team for the vast majority like that, especially at home, like, I spend my time in the ballpark from 1:30 to 11 o'clock. I'm going home to see my kids, because even if it's 11 o'clock, my son still wants to go home and play baseball in the living room, wherever we may be. So that time is, like it's valuable to me, and I think it's very valuable to the rest of the guys there that have kids as well. Now, say like Marcus Simeon on the road last year, phenomenal job of trying to get guys together for group dinners, go out for a beer, whatever it may be. I think I missed one last year that Simeon asked us to go to. So, he's a phenomenal guy there. He did a great job with that.
He addressed several of the things that we've heard were such big problems. Now, that one is real. It's legit, and we speculated about this. But yeah, when you have a vast mix of young guys who are like, hey, let's go have a beer. Hey, let's go, go to one of those escape houses. Let's do this. Let's do that when we have our off time. The married guys are like, yeah, you guys go ahead, but we got families.
Yeah. Yeah. Or we're old.
Yeah, or we're old. Yeah.
We've done that.
Yeah.
No, and that's a legitimate thing. And the Rangers were the oldest roster last year, and it's going to be pretty old again this year. And the guys they shed, I guess Marcus is a little older, but
so's
Adolis is 33,
yeah.
is 33, but still DeGrom and knocking on 40 here in a year or two.
Chris Martin,
who's 112,
age just skews it up. Yeah.
So anyway, and that makes sense. And I don't think the guys go out a ton at home anyway.
No,
it's
on the road.
But the big going out for home games is a day game followed by an off day.
Right.
That night, guys are going out.
Mm-hmm.
At least the ones without the families. So there is that, but on the road, it's just in a lot of cases, just the players, so they go hang together, and and some things have changed because these guys can be in 4 different rooms and communicating, playing a video game,
right?
Right. And but and it was interesting what he said about Marcus, trying to get the team together. Varying levels of success, perhaps on those endeavors,
right?
But yeah, guys, it's true. Guys aren't in the clubhouse very much. Corey is very rarely in the clubhouse when we're in there,
right?
Of course, when the team schedules meetings during media time, nobody's in there,
right?
And
that happens often.
Yeah. And as Curdua points out, there was something that Armstrong said without naming names that we both thought was
Kevin Pillar,
a reference to Kevin Pillar and Pillar's. I don't really know if he was outspoken about it, but just Pillar saying he didn't see the tight knit group. I just think that I've always had a little bit of doubt about what Pillar knew.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. And, he went on to say a few things about, that is, Sean Armstrong went on to say a few things about how there are some veterans who have their own routine. He didn't obviously say Corey's name, but Corey does. And truthfully, Marcus Simeon was very routine-oriented as well. He did the same thing every day to get ready. He just did. He happened to be able to do it within the confines of also hanging with the guys for a while at batting practice. But I personally would sacrifice Corey Seager being with everybody at batting practice as long as he can hit like that.
Sure.
And I think that's, if I'm a manager, if I'm Skip Schumacher, I'm telling all the guys that, hey, when you guys can hit like Corey Seager, you can go do your own thing too.
Right.
But for now, the rest of us do it this way and Corey does it that way. I mean, going way back, probably forever in coaching, but I remember, Jimmy Johnson, I can't remember, John Roper maybe, some guy fell asleep in a meeting. Jimmy Johnson cut him. And we asked him years later, hey, what would have happened if Emmett had fallen asleep in the meeting instead of John Roper? Jimmy's like, oh, I would have gently awakened him, because there's different rules for different players.
Right.
And you earn those rules. You earn those sort of exceptions to the rules.
Yeah. Corey, when he signed with the Rangers, they knew
Right.
that he had his own hitting
100%.
coach.
Yeah, because again, the manager of the Rangers at the time had been
Woodward.
with him in Los Angeles.
Exactly. So that's not new, right? The Rangers didn't have a carpet pulled out from under him when he was never in the clubhouse,
right?
And like starting pitchers, they may go like on their bullpen days, they're hard to track down. They'll go get treatment before they throw, come in, put on their uniform, and go to the bullpen.
Sure.
And then like Eovaldi and DeGrom, they just hang out there.
Yeah, yeah.
They just hang for a long time.
Yeah.
So, but the point being, I really am on board with Dave's theory that they'd been winning, you would have never heard anything about the clubhouse. But they weren't winning, or they weren't meeting expectations. So some things that ordinarily wouldn't have come out came out.
Absolutely,
and that's just part of the baggage, right?
Yep. Yeah, it comes with the dinner, and it's unfortunate that it became probably a bigger story than it was, and it reared its head a couple of different times. But we'll see. And I saw somebody in the chat already mentioning about the video. I've seen it too on social media of Corey, in a huddle, in the middle of a huddle with a bunch of Dodgers, firing them up. But I'm under the impression that the video was at of pregame of a playoff game, A, and B, I don't think Corey Seager was one or would be one to do that every day, and C, we could show the video when Corey Seager hit the home run. Was it the one in the ALCS? It was the one in the ALCS where he came back to the dugout and just screamed. Well, first he looked at the dugout after he hit it, which he never does. Ran around the bases, got into the dugout, and just screamed, and it fired every one of them up. So this is not something that's necessarily in Corey Seager's nature, but he has it in him, right? Just like I think that video is.
Yeah, and when the stakes get higher, everybody ratchets up. I do think that a little more of that wouldn't hurt.
No, I agree.
But you just kind of look at the whole team, and they're a pretty stoic team. They don't they act like they've been there before, right?
Yeah. They've only been once, but by God,
they act like it. And you know who the cheerleaders are. Like Josh Young is pretty out front on a home run, given a special handshake or celebration or whatever. And everybody comes in and gets high fives and whatnot. But these guys have to be around each other for 8 months, and so sometimes there's friction, and sometimes there's not. But I just and you don't have to like all your teammates.
No.
You just have to be able to
get along with them.
Yeah,
play with them, play nice in the sandbox, as they say. And I do think when you're talking about it's somewhat of a stoic team, I think one guy can change that in many ways. And Brandon Nimmo seems like if there's a guy, he might be that guy, right?
Sure.
With his, just his exuberance, like that I think is extremely natural. It's not something that's like, designed to get the team fired up or his teammates fired up. That's just who he is.
Right. He's seems like an open book with us, at least.
Right.
Right. He'll be around next week with Fan Fest, and I think he has a Kroger appearance. It says Fort Worth. It's very far north Fort Worth. Just if you guys want to narrow that one down, that's on Sunday. And he'll be around for Fan Fest and all that stuff. And so if you're fortunate enough to get close to him, you're gonna realize what a great guy is.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that like when you take a picture with him and he puts your arm around you, you're going to get a squeeze. I just have a feeling.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And anyway, so hopefully all of it will conspire to create a clubhouse that is not considered toxic. And once again, Sean Armstrong's contention is there wasn't toxicity in the Rangers clubhouse last year. There might have been disappointment. Nobody wants to lose 81 games when you're expected to win a lot more than 81. But But maybe the rumors of the toxicity were overplayed. All right, we got more coming up. It's International Day. They start signing players on the international market today. The Rangers have gone crazy. Last year, they signed 21 players on this day. Not sure exactly how many yet this year, but they had about $6.6 million to spend. We'll talk about some of our favorite memories of international guys who have come through here next as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast. And we ask you to be a member, if you would, of the Supporters Club. Get our true sicko level stuff. Get our behind-the-scenes looks that will be done almost every week. I think pretty much every week, one of the shows does one of these behind-the-scenes video, the likes of which Kat produced for us last week, a lovely look at how the producer gets things ready for a show. So it's really fun. It's really cool, and you'll love just getting basically, if nothing else, getting a little tour of the office here where we do this show most days, certainly almost every day during the off season, and then not quite as often during the off season because we spend time at the various ballparks. But anyway, it's cheap to join. You get the emojis. We are working on getting them to create more emojis and, frankly, more Rangers stuff in general, like the hat we'll talk about later and the emoji. But short term, join that Supporters Club, will you please?
Yeah, and get the newsletter because it's free. And it's, you go to our homepage, alldls.com, go to the bottom. There's a white box at the bottom to put in your email address. Hit submit, and voila, you start getting Ali Jawad's handiwork 5 days a week. And at the top today, kind of took little inside humor with the rest of the Cowboys crew, and that's fine. Read into it what you will. And then, but the lead story was about Cooper Flagg and his latest malady, or I guess an extension of the ankle injury he suffered the other night. Though this one he didn't come back from. Daniel Gafford was hurt. They lost to the Nuggets, who don't have the best player in the NBA currently playing right now, but they're still pretty good. There's also some Cowboy stuff. Still don't have a defensive coordinator. Talked about our Rangers, talked about the Stars. So sign up for the newsletter at alldls.com.
Yeah, we'd love you to do that. Charles Tucker wondering who's going to be in charge of music in the clubhouse. Elvis is gone. So
they don't, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's quite as big of an emphasis.
They don't play as much music before games as they used to.
Yeah, it's true.
They will do it after wins only. That's kind of a rule. You don't play music if you lose. Spring training's the big music time, and I'm not sure. Seemed to be pretty eclectic here the last few years with some country, and I think occasionally they'll play some Latin music for the Latin players and all that stuff. And All About Sports Zone, different Jeff Calloway. There are two Jeffs at All DLS.
Yes.
So, but I am aware that sometimes I will look at my phone. Sometimes it is because I'm awaiting a text message or just got one. Sometimes it's to play prize picks. I'm not gonna lie.
He needs to
support our
supporting
sponsor.
our sponsors.
So yeah. Anyway, but that one was specifically at the other Jeff
Kavanaugh. Yeah. So anyway, the music was interesting when I was still on the charter for all those years. Elvis. I mean, even long gone were the days of the big boom boxes, but Elvis would bring one this big in there, and he would play music on the plane. Now, and he'd play certainly a lot of Latin music. I don't know if it was Venezuelan specifically, but a lot of music from Latin America. But he had a very wide playlist, man.
He's a big Bruno Mars guy.
Yeah,
Elvis.
He played a lot.
Then,
Bruno's coming to Globe Life Field.
And then one of the things that made T.R. Sullivan like Elvis so much is one day T.R. the music was blaring and T.R. said, "How about some Frank?" I think it was Frank Sinatra. And Elvis was like, "What?" And TR said, yeah, look him up, help out the old guys. And so the next day, Frank Sinatra was playing.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it is.
He had a wide playlist and very eclectic and very fun. So, the Rangers, as we said yesterday, in some ways they pioneered and inspired, if you will, the idea of limiting what you can do, especially in Latin America.
Yeah.
They went in there and just, literally with Sandy Johnson and Tom Grieve. I mean, for a while there, they just owned Puerto Rico. Right. I mean, they got Pudge and Juan and Ruben Sierra and others out of there. And, say no more than Pudge, right? You get a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Right out of there. So my first memory of a Latin player here was not one that they found or groomed, but one who was here in 1990 when I got here, and that's Julio Franco.
Oh, okay.
And you talk about a guy, Jeff, who, like, to this day we don't know how old he is. He might have been 29 in 1990. He might have been 40. I don't know. But I did a story, and he was an all-star. I think he might have won the MVP of an all-star game while I was covering him. He and the Mike Reiner over at the Ticket used to call him keeper of the big gold because he had all these gold necklaces and chains and medallions, and one of the first to do that. But anyway, he lived right there in North Arlington, and I went over and did a story with him at his house one time. He had a tiger.
Oh my gosh.
A tiger in North Arlington. I am not kidding you. I'm like we were inside and the tiger was outside, but I'm still like, is this safe?
Is this Scarface?
Oh, it's fine. Yeah. I thought he was going to feed me to the dang tiger. He's like, I don't like the media. So anyway.
He came up the other night. My son was trying to imitate the stances of major league players now. And, Henry got a couple of them right, but mostly they just look like his stance.
Sure.
But I said, what about any old players you can do? And I can't remember about them. I said, well, you need to learn about Julio Franco. And so I did my Julio Franco impersonation, and I pulled an oblique muscle while doing it. But yeah, you're right, Uncle Ted. Those high hands and the way he would point the bat. Henry did know Gary Sheffield, though. He knew the Sheffield swing was pretty
that one. How about that? Kevin Youkilis stand. Now that was a wild one over there in Boston. So so anyway, that was a pretty interesting one. And of course, at that time, Juan was fairly young on the team and not as he wasn't quite Igor yet. He wasn't quite Wando yet, but later he became that. And I had the privilege of going to Puerto Rico when he was about to win the MVP in '98. And I was with Channel 5, and it was a twofold trip. One, to be there, he won, which we all expected he would, and he did, and it was great. I'll never forget being in his backyard, which, by the way, the house he had in Puerto Rico that I was at where he celebrated, and I watched and videoed the MVP in '98. It wasn't like, drop your jaw, beautiful. Yeah. Now, it was about 6 houses that he had at the time, Jeff. One for each wife, I think, at that time.
That might have been the party house.
I'm not sure. But anyway, it was nice. Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't like jaw-dropping or right on the water or anything. It was in a neighborhood. But anyway, the other reason we went there was to go back and show where he came from. Because he truly came from, the roughest part of Vega Baja, which is just a really, really poor, beyond, third world type abject poverty. So we followed Igor, which is what they all called him. We followed Igor as he went back through that whole area. He took us up to the field way up on a hill where he first learned to play. We were coming back down the hill and interviewing him kind of the whole way. And there's people following him like the Pied Piper. Yeah. It was so cool. Come back down the hill, and he stops in a store. And I'm like, what are we doing? Where are we going? Well, this is the drugstore in town that he owns and his dad runs.
Oh.
And there's no money exchanged. anything people really needed, and I don't know how they determined all that.
Yeah.
But things that people needed, he took care of.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
that is really who he was, you know. And then while we were there, I mean, you know, you talk about just getting the money shot. We got kids playing with not even a broomstick. I mean, like a stick from a tree, but it was pretty straight and obviously pretty sturdy, playing baseball with like a stick from a tree and a couple of wadded up tin cans.
Man.
And they're playing baseball. And so anyway, that's where he came from. So it was really moving and really cool, but really one of my great memories from, you know, covering these international. And of course, that's Puerto Rico. I mean, we know the Dominican, Jeff, can be even as impoverished or worse.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I guess my first foray into the international side was after, you know, the Rangers made the Mark Teixeira trade, and from that came Elvis and Feliz, and Elvis was in spring training the next year, which was my first spring, his first big league camp, my first big league camp, I guess, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
And my wife came down one night, and we had gone to Tucson, I believe, and so we were hungry and at Surprise, and, you know, everything was closed except for Olive Garden.
Yeah.
So we walked in, and I was like, oh, all right, we'll go to Olive Garden. And we were waiting for them to get a table. The damn place was empty. But and then Elvis came in because he had made a to-go order. And I said, oh, hey, how's it going? And all this stuff. And introduced him to my wife. And he was very nice, of course. And he left. And I was like, oh, man, I feel sorry for him. He's just getting dinner by himself. I'm like, Jenny, don't worry about Elvis. He's going to be all right. And he was. And then that off season, I went to Instructs. And so the first like true sign and develop guy who I followed from the infancy of his career until the major leagues and was Martin Perez.
Yeah.
And Martin's always been one of my absolute favorites. He still is. When he comes to town on the other teams, you know, we always talk and have a good time. And just, I love Martin Perez. That's all I'm going to say about that. You can say what you want about his pitching these days or ever in his career, and that's fine. Love him. I absolutely love him. But, you know, I did go, to your point, to the Dominican, and you've been as well. I went in 2014 and was driven around to see all the, you know, really, it's eye-opening.
It's terrible.
You know, you go there and it's like, oh my, this is third world. And, you know, people do live in tin sheds. And the thing that got me, there are a couple things. The little moped bikes.
Yes.
And they will put 6 people on those things, you know. And then there were a ton of stray pregnant dogs. I just remember, like, every little town we went into, there's like stray dogs everywhere, and they were all pregnant.
Oh gosh.
So, but you know, the love for baseball was there though, because there was a baseball field in every town. And, you know, there was one stop where, and I think I said it the other day, we went to see Jairo Barris's hometown and where he grew up. And as we were leaving, there were kids playing, and they saw that we were Americans, and they waved at us. And we got out of the car and spoke to them. Paul Kruger used to work for the Rangers, did all the talking. And also, every town had a bar. And so we got some Presidente there. And yes, we did drink it while we were driving. That pretty much
in that country,
that's nothing. In,
in
the Dominican.
In that country, that's fine. Yeah, encourage it. In fact,
I think it is encouraged.
Yeah. And of course, others of our favorites: Yu Darvish, Shin-Soo Choo, Adrian Beltre.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time we got Adrian, you'd almost—I mean, his accent, I guess, never belied, but you'd almost forget he was so ensconced in American society.
Yeah.
But you know, this is a guy who came, you know, from, I think, the fairly, came from, you know, poverty.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that same trip, Profar was the I guess he was already in the major leagues, and Odor was coming up.
Okay.
And so that was when the first time I interviewed Odor, and he goes, "My English isn't very good." I said, "That sounded great. Let's talk."
Yeah.
But Mazzara was there. Guzman was there at the little winter workouts. Jorge Alfaro, you guys remember him?
Yeah.
So anyway,
catching prospect.
That's right. Yeah. So good times. And,
was Mazzara's English good then too? Yeah, because he was great when he was here. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I hope that we can return. I can return to the Dominican soon, because you just see a whole different. It's just a whole different thing.
Yeah, it is. And I noticed the time I was there, like, even because the established players from the Dominican are around the academies and stuff a lot, and they truly appreciate that we make the effort, right, to go see where they came from and how it was and how they developed and all that. So pretty cool. We've had great experiences with the international players, and confident we'll have great ones with the young crop of players the Rangers have signed today. So more coming up as we continue. We're going to get into our cleanup segment. Lots to talk about there, including a couple of new additions to Team USA. Next, it's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's Die Hard time. And all we want you to do is be wise and become a diehard. There's deals all the time, and it's worth checking to see if there's a deal, because the price is right and what you get is phenomenal, which is, of course, all the writing that's behind the paywall. But you get 20% off all of our events. You get 20% off all of our merchandise, and you get first crack at our events as well, which, as our Stars friends and fans learned, that can be difficult to get a ticket to one of those, because if you're not a diehard and you don't get first crack, you probably don't get a chance to go to one of those events. We're going to, when Skipper Ben was on here, I don't know if I told you this, Jeff, but he promised we're having at least one Rangers event this year, at least one.
Well, we're going to hold his feet to the fire on that one.
We're going to hold him to it. Become a diehard, get the paywall stuff, and get all those benefits too.
Yeah, and look, if we're having one of these events, you got to wear our merch. So go to store.allcitynetwork.com. That's where you find the merch. That's where you cash in on your free shirt with your diehard membership, or hat, if you want to do the hat deal that you can find at alldls.com/intro. I'm wearing one of the new 4 new hats today. I think it's pretty sharp. It's the one I had to rip off my wife's head before she went and worked out in it. And no regrets. I really enjoy the hats. I have 4 of the 5 that are available. I have a bunch of shirts. John's, that might have been your first shirt.
It might have been.
Yeah. But every day I go through my closet to decide which T-shirt I'm going to wear that particular day, and that's really where my wardrobe starts. So that tells you what a flashy guy I am. But store.allcitynetwork.com, shirts, hats, sweatshirts, beer steins, coffee mugs, all there for you guys.
Yeah. Okay, so Clayton Kershaw is not done yet. He is going to pitch for Team USA, and he's had some issues in previous WBCs where he couldn't pitch because of insurance issues with the Dodgers and so forth. But now he's retired, and so the insurance thing isn't a problem, and he is fired up to pitch for Team USA for the 2026 World Baseball Classic. And you wonder, so has Kershaw ever worn the colors of the USA before? It's a really good question, and believe it or not, one other time, at least, Clayton Kershaw has worn the colors of Team USA. Look at that. That's 18-year-old Clayton Kershaw.
Look at those ears.
How about those ears?
He kind of grew into those ears.
He dang near grew into them.
And he looks, that's 18. He looks pretty young.
He really does.
Yeah.
He really does. And can you imagine he threw that well at, 18, that he was on Team USA and all that from right up the street here.
Was he 7th overall or 11th?
Yeah,
7th or 11th?
7th, I thought.
Yeah.
And Kelly, man, lefty specialist, Rarities was wondering if he'll really pitch or if he'll just be there as a, sort of a confidant for Mark DeRosa and the coaching staff and all that kind of thing. I wouldn't be surprised. And Kelly, man, a lefty specialist.
I bet he pitches in pool play.
Yeah.
If they have a, I don't want to say a gimme, but if they have a game that they're going to win going away, I bet that he would get maybe get the start and pitch an inning, something like that.
Yeah. And I don't know if if it's coincidence that it happened today, the day or two after Alex Bregman, agreed to be with the Chicago Cubs, but he is also 7th. It is in 06. Thank you, Leon. But Bregman also joins Team USA today as well, and that may have to do with, Mark DeRosa being kind enough, lack of a better word, to wait for a free agent to land,
get his contract stuff out of the way,
and get his contract stuff done, and or make sure, because I'm sure there's some teams that aren't really that excited about their players going to play in this thing. Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I asked about that in our call last week. You got any guys? And Chris Young said, well, we've been asked about some players, and we'll decide. We think it's a great event, but we have to do what's best for the Texas Rangers. So I'm guessing that if Great Britain asks about Sebastian Walcott, they're gonna be like, why don't we go ahead and check back in 3 or 4 years on Sebastian? And I brought up Alejandro Osuna. That could be another situation. Like, well, he's kind of competing for a roster spot, so I don't know that we're gonna pull that trigger. It was interesting that the Mariners, a reliever, Gabe Spire, who's a nice reliever, I guess. He's been added to the team, so that seems like a very targeted, specific.
Sure.
He's lefty, right? Maybe I'm making that up, but anyway, it seems like they have a very specific role for him, because when you think of great relievers, I don't know that he's in your top. I don't know. He doesn't roll right off the tongue. He's not first one to come to mind.
No. So, anyway, Bregman's going. Now, today is National Hat Day. And I feel bad that I just don't wear a lot of hats. But you're celebrating, Jeff.
I brought a bunch of hats then.
National Hat Day.
I think I knew that previously. Maybe last year I knew that.
I think you did, and you wore a different hat every segment.
Yeah, well, dang it. I'm ruining this whole thing.
Yeah, you missed that. I missed it, too. I should have told you. I knew before because I put this in the show in part because it's National Hat Day. These are the hats that will be worn by the respective teams/countries in the World Baseball Classic. And I've got to tell you, I'm not a huge fan of the U.S. hat.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I really like that Australia hat. That's down there in the second row, one from the left. It's a good-looking hat, isn't it?
Yeah, I like the Puerto Rico hat.
Yeah,
I like the
great.
Mexico hat.
Big time.
Yeah,
big time.
Is that the Netherlands down there in the lower right?
It must be. Boy, that's interesting. I like that hat.
I don't know if I'm right about that.
That's either that or it's Chef Boyardee. It's one of the two, So anyway, there's all the different hats that you'll be seeing. That is Canada. Yeah, I didn't hate that Canada hat.
I didn't see it.
Not a big fan of the red. Show the cats one more time. Cat, look at it there on the left. It's third down from the left.
That's not great.
Not many red hats I like, but maybe I'm a sucker for Canada since I grew up in that area. Nationals are leaving, so it's not only FanDuel, Bally, and that world that in regional sports networks that's having trouble. This one that's been up in the Washington-Baltimore area forever, called MASN, is losing the Washington Nationals, and they're going to go over to Major League Baseball too.
Well, that's interesting.
So there's 7 teams now.
There's the whole Orioles Nationals dispute there at Nasson, and I guess they still have the Orioles. I guess.
Yep, I guess they do, and I don't blame. I mean, that's a tough one, right? Orioles have been around forever, and the Nationals had not, but that dispute was big. I will say, it's the wave of the future, and the Major League Baseball one. I think it's pretty much the same deal that everybody else has, except the one thing is the streaming rights. Because they'll be streamed, or it will be streamed through MLB.com or through, assuming that this happens, the ESPN Plus app. But Major League Baseball is giving the freedom, the flexibility for people to watch it out of market.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, which you can't do. Like on Victory, you can't watch the Rangers out of market.
Right.
So
Right.
which is a pain. So anyway, it looks like that in Mid-Atlantic. That's right.
But
Mid-Atlantic Sports Network.
and it's still my thought on that, John, because I don't really know the inner workings, but like you think about the Rangers' territory, it's gigantic.
It's huge. Yeah.
Whereas all these teams on the East Coast are stacked one on top of each other. You got to kind of let it go a little bit.
If I'm just going up to Philly for dinner or for the weekend, I can't watch my team.
An hour away.
Yeah.
Or if I'm in Baltimore and I got to go to DC, stay the night for work.
Yep.
It's a 30-mile drive.
Yeah. Right.
Dang it! I want to watch my Orioles.
Yeah, or I want to watch my Nationals. So
yeah.
Mitch Garver's 35 today. Happy birthday to our buddy Mitch.
I like Mitch.
Go ahead and have a what was his beer called? Brew.
Garv sauce.
Garv sauce.
Wasn't that what it's
Garv
called?
sauce.
Which is I think is now has been his Twitter handle for a while.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go have a nice Garv sauce on us there, Mitch Garver.
He promised he was going to send me some one time, and I didn't hound him about it.
Yeah, he just forgot.
Yeah.
Sam Huff has signed a minor league deal, Jeff, with the Orioles.
Love Sam Huff.
Yeah.
Love Sam Huff.
And they got a lot of catchers in front of him.
I wish that one had worked out. He never. It wasn't. The bat kind of languished, sure, and he was probably going to be ultimately a 3 true outcomes guy, but the defense never got to where it was, and not just the technical side of receiving and throwing. It was the game prep that always seemed to
elude him.
They were always a little bit behind on that one.
I thought like the first time I saw him in the majors, and in those days I wasn't covering the minor leagues extensively as you were, but the first time I saw him in the majors, my first thought was they got to get him out of catcher, right?
Yeah.
Like if he's got this prodigious power, and we saw the funny thing about him was we saw those bombs, those moonshot home runs that he hit in the minors.
Right.
I don't think he ever hit one at the big league level like that.
He did hit a couple. Like there's one he hit in Houston that comes to mind. That was just a
shot,
a rocket to left.
Okay.
He didn't hit a bunch of home runs, I guess.
Well, that's there's the problem. Yeah.
But he had the kind of power where even if he didn't hit it good, he's still going to get it out. Anyway, love Sam and wish him the best of luck. Yeah,
really do. And, it's a minor league deal, so, he'll have to earn what he gets, but at least he's got an opportunity.
Yeah, and he could have a great spring and may end up getting signed somewhere else at the end of the
Sure. Yeah. Always a possibility. Catcher is a thing, as we saw with all these catchers getting snapped up today in the international signing class that was there. So, and how about this? Speaking of the Nationals, as we were leaving MASN, here's an artist rendering of the new ballpark proposed in Washington, D.C.
That's pretty cool.
That unbelievable.
Like that.
That's the best looking ballpark, baseball park I've ever seen. Now, PNC in Pittsburgh's always got something to say about the best looking. But come on. It looks like the Washington Memorial or something.
Do they really need a new stadium? I mean,
I think that what happened with their old one is that they built it in an area that they hoped was going to have this sort of revitalization.
Yeah.
And it never revitalized.
Well, maybe not to the level they wanted, but from the first time I went there to the last time I was there, first time I was there, you could see the mall. You could see all the cool stuff in DC. And the second time I went, you couldn't see it anymore.
Yeah.
So there were apartments and things that had built up, and there's a Shake Shack across the street in left field and things like that.
Stand by.
Oh,
that might be the Commanders' new stadium.
Oh, Commanders.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we're throwing a little football at you in the show. Just trying to see here. I think it may be the Commanders. Either way, it's worth seeing, isn't it? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's right on the footprint of RFK.
Maybe.
So either way.
Misty says they've only been to Nationals Park in 2008, which is not quite correct. 2008, yes, because it was my last trip before I got married. But then I think they went in 2017. Austin Bibb and Dirks shoved it up the Nationals' backsides and beat Max Scherzer. It was a 1-0.
Oh yeah,
game.
yeah. I remember that.
And then they went back. They've been back in every other year since this new schedule has come apart.
Yeah, and so
together.
we don't know that the Nationals are getting a new park, but we do know this: it wouldn't surprise me, right?
Yeah.
And I love Benny's point. Maybe time for a new park here. I think we're about
It's
due.
only been a few years.
Yeah, I think we're about due. And then Ray could spend some more money. So anyway,
then, one thing for Benny, I saw that you mentioned that the Rangers are one of only 2 teams that did not sign a shortstop. If you didn't hear it at the top, Ariel Brady, while listed as an outfielder in Baseball America, the Rangers pointed out to me is a shortstop for now.
okay.
So there you go.
So they got one.
Yep.
Very good. Very good. So that's it for International Day. Jeff's got to be out tomorrow. We'll have Mike Bassick sitting in for him. So I hope you'll tune in for that, and we'll hear what Mike has to say about all these things that are going on in the world of baseball, and he might have some insight on what's going on with your Texas Rangers. It's all coming up tomorrow on this week's final edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.